Katya.
And I'm Rin.
And we're here at the Commonwealth Center for Holistic Herbalism in Boston, Massachusetts. We thought that we would take the opportunity to tell you about a bunch of herb books that we really, really love. And why not? It's book day.
Yeah. Right on.
But before we get started, I just want to remind you, please subscribe to our channel. We have so much fun stuff for you about herbs, about things that you need if you love herbs, like books and mason jars and tea strainers and all kinds of cool stuff. So subscribe and never miss a video.
Yeah. Let's talk about one that's a little closer to home. So this is the...
This is very close to home.
Yeah. This is called Wild Urban Plants of the Northeast by Peter del Tredici. Or maybe Tredici, I'm not sure. So this book I love because this is basically something that I could wander around Boston with, and it would help me to identify all kinds of wild plants that's growing around here. So this is more of a botanical book than an herbal. He does occasionally refer to some what he calls cultural significance items about these plants, like he'll maybe talk about some historical uses or some contemporary folk uses of these as herbs, but this is really more of a field guide, right?
I gotta tell you though, it's my favorite beyond all the other ones. It's got fantastic photographs in it, and also city plants are a little different than field guide plants, and sometimes the plants that are growing in a city, it's very difficult to find in a field guide, and like if there's a plant that I've been watching and I'm like, gosh, who is that? And I'll pull out all the field guides and often I don't find it. And then I pulled this book out and there it is. And partially that's because this guy's from Boston. He lives, I believe, in Somerville. So of course, like these books are right here, or these plants are right here local, but these are the plants that you can find in all of the cities, especially the northern cities. And that is super, super valuable.
Yeah.
Also, he has a segment on trees. And again, that's the same. Like, the trees that we plant in cities are not like a natural collection of trees. They are a selected collection of trees for various reasons. So, so he references the trees as well, which makes it a lot easier to figure out what you've got in your city.
Totally. One of the things I really like about this is during his introductory materials, he has a whole segment about the notion of city naturalized plants. That, this is focused on weeds, basically. There's not a lot of discussion of ornamental plants in here unless they also have a sort of a wild variety. But he's mainly interested in things like dandelion and burdock that follow people around, hang out with people in their cities, and thrive in those environments. And there's this great bit where he's discussing, what are the ecological characteristics of a city environment, right? It's dry, it's stony, it's salty from, especially up here in Boston, you wouldn't believe the mountains of salt they throw over the roads every winter. So, plants need to be able to survive those particular kinds of things, and many of the plants you find thriving in a city environment are things that would have been sort of naturally found on a rocky cliff next to the ocean, and just thinking of it that way, that really opened my eyes a little bit to think more about microclimates and the way they express and what are the pressures on herbs that are going to grow right here in the city.
It's like microbioregionalism.
Yeah. So I will say there's a pretty big limitation though to this book, which is that it doesn't have any kind of a key. So if you are trying to identify a plant, you're going to basically just look at it with the book next to you and flip through until you find a picture that gets you pretty close. So it may help if you have another kind of a wildflower guide or a smartphone that you can use with some online resources to help to key it out, to a certain step, and then turn to this for the kind of final differentiation. So that is a limitation here.
On the other hand, most of the time, I just flip through the whole book. It's not a huge book.
Yeah.
It's like what? It's not 400 pages.
Yes.
Yeah, and
almost.
The pictures are very good, and every time I do it, I'm like, oh wait, let me look at this. And so I always end up learning more.
You see something else that you were trying to figure out on the way to it, yeah.
Yeah.
So that happens.
Yeah, so you're right, that really is a drawback. An index or some sort of key would be great, but it is not in any way a drawback significant enough to impede working with the book.
Yeah.
So I hope that you really loved learning about all these books. I hope that it'll be really useful for you as you think about what books do you want to get to start your herbal library. And don't forget to subscribe and get lots more cool videos to help you grow your herbalism habit.
Right on. Okay, see you later.